All right, looks like we're live. I'm just going to double check. All right, we are set, so we can go ahead and get started. All right, well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us again on this Monday late morning. Thanks for being here with us or whenever you're watching this. My name is Jamie Chavez. I'm the president and CEO of the Westminster Chamber. I'm here with Brett Popish and Bryan Head, who are the moderators of the Readers Professional Development Book Club, the Chamber Book Club. We meet once a month to discuss different professional development books and bounce ideas off each other and just kind of see how we can help each other grow professionally. So it's really great. So we're here to talk about that today and our next book, which is 10X is Easier Than 2X. Have it here. And so I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Brett and Bryan to go ahead and talk about why we chose this book this month. And we actually did change the book. So for those of you that are like, hey, what's going on? I thought we were reading iPencil. We are still going to do that. We'll chat about that too. But we're shifting gears just a little bit. So I will turn it over to Brett and Bryan.
So Bryan, why don't we start off, talk about the iPencil book, and then we'll segue into the book that we decided to go with.
Yeah, so last month at the meeting, we talked about doing iPencil, which is actually more of an essay. It's only about 20 pages long, if that, but it's, yeah, there it is. It's upside down, but there you go. It's an essay essentially about the free market, and it uses a pencil as the unit, I guess, that is being manufactured, and highlights that no one person is solely responsible for the creation of a pencil. So it just kind of speaks to like the invisible hand of the free market. And so we thought it'd be a good book for entrepreneurs to read and to think about in the context of how whatever it is that you produce, whether it's a product or a service, how that comes to market, and how these kind of ideas and principles influence you as an entrepreneur. So I have ordered copies of it for everybody. So it's not easily available online except for the digital copy. You can download that from a couple of organizations for free. I think it's on Amazon. It's only a few dollars, but I'll have physical copies that we'll hand out at the next book club, and we'll also leave some at the chamber office if folks would like to pick that up. But we'll do that one next month in May, it sounds like.
Yeah, the idea behind that book was we have some months coming up where they're going to be a little short because of holidays. We've got Memorial Day next month, or next month being May. We've got Independence Day in July. So we thought that rather than putting in a full-length, girthy book during those holiday months, we can give people a little bit of a break. There's going to be travel schedules. We've got graduation parties in May, that sort of thing. So I think by doing a more simplistic book for the month of May, we could then get back to a normal schedule come June and make it a little more efficient, I think.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well,
So
great. So
I'm
let's
going to make sure it's right side up.
Yeah, there we go.
We're going to go with 10X is easier than 2X.
Yeah.
Now, I have not read this book. I've purchased it. It's on my shelf to read. So I'm just as excited as anybody else to get into this book. But from what I gather about it, Jamie, you might know more than I think you've read it. But it's really designed for entrepreneurs, business owners that want to scale their business at a level that is much larger scale rather than just kind of eking up on that scale.
Yeah. So the book we read last month was really great and I did like that book quite a bit, but it's very different because that book talked a lot about how tiny incremental changes can really help to further you in whatever your goals are, which I believe that's true. And that's important. This book is completely different where the idea is that instead of making tiny incremental changes or doing tiny things to help your business or your professional life or whatever it is that you're looking to do, you sit down and you figure out what's the one thing that you can do that's going to bring a much bigger improvement at a much larger scale and focus on that thing. And so that's the idea. 10X is easier than 2X. It's easier to, to scale at a much larger rate, or at least more worth time. And so that it's a different book. I talked a little bit about that at the last meeting, how some of these books that we're reading are very different. And so I like that because people can kind of pick what the best approach is for their own, how they work and how they function. And so, so that's really cool. But that's the kind of premise of the book.
Right.
Yeah, I think you hit on a good point there. And this kind of speaks to earlier this year, we did Personality Plus or I guess at the end of last year, we did Personality Plus about the different personality types and how people just interact with the world differently. And so I think there's things, there's been books that we've read that, some people have really connected with, and then others that haven't. And so I think it's important as a group to read different kinds of books and talk about how it impacts our lives, because not everything is a one-size-fits-all solution, right? There's things that might work for Brett and his business that don't necessarily work as well for me and mine. And so I think this is a cool follow-up to Atomic Habits, because Atomic Habits focus so much on those incremental changes, like getting 1% better at a time, and building the healthy habits. And then this one, again, I haven't read it either, but from what I understand, it's focusing more on kind of the quality of your actions versus quantity, and really having a focus on massive change. So it'll be interesting to have these two back to back and have people come into this one under the context of having read Atomic Habits last month.
Right. Yeah. Now, the one thing is, so we meet the fourth Tuesday of every month. So that would put us meeting April 22nd. So it's not going to be a full month. So hopefully the majority of our participants can get through the book, looking at it. It's not a huge book by any means. It is, let me see here. It's going to be, it's not even 300 pages. So I'm thinking we can do it.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I looked at the audio version. It's about 9 hours if you listen to it on the 1x speed. So I think
interestingly, it's exactly 250 pages.
There you go. That's manageable.
So you can do 11 pages a day.
You get
it.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I really like about this book is I think that we all kind of get stuck in the day-to-day of doing the little things that we have to do as business owners and entrepreneurs. There's a ton of stuff that we have to do that's like admin or busy work, and it sucks. We don't like doing it, but we have to. Those are just things that we have to get through, and those things take up a lot of time. And then we don't ever get like wildly ambitious about doing like one great big thing that's actually going to cause a huge difference. And so I think this book is going to be pretty eye-opening in that regard. And it's not just about how doing something that 10x is, it's not working harder. It's actually supposed to be easier, but have a much bigger impact. And so I'm excited to see what people's reactions are to this book.
Great.
Yeah. So maybe Dave, maybe you didn't catch it. Yes, we're meeting on the 22nd. It's always the fourth Tuesday. Yeah. All right. Any other questions from anyone watching, or do you guys have anything else you want to say about the book club or the book?
No, I just apologize for not being at book club last week. I was actually in Georgia on a family vacation, but hopefully you all had a good time, and hopefully it was effective.
It was a great meeting. And just, we say it every month on the broadcast. I would just say, come as you are. Even if you haven't gotten through the whole thing or anything, it's just beneficial to have people in the room and have the conversations, and everybody kind of plays off of each other. And it's interesting to hear different people's insights that maybe they picked up on things you didn't pick up on in the book. So it's a great environment. It's judgment free. We definitely laugh a lot. Kokopelli Beer Company is where we hold it. We're usually in the side room there, so we've got plenty of space, great food and drinks there. So welcome. Even if you haven't come before, we would love to have you. There's plenty of space for you, and we're looking forward to the 22nd.
Absolutely. And one thing I'll add on that, Bryan, too, is anytime I get into a new book, or any book for that matter, I'm looking to take out one, maybe two ideas out of a book, kind of like if I go to a conference or something. I think, and I do that because I want to set the expectation that it's not going to be a waste of time reading a book if I only get one thing out of it. You know what I mean? So even though we might have read books that might not have resonated with somebody, I guarantee you they picked one little nugget even out of a book you didn't resonate with. And so I just want to encourage people that even if you're not super thrilled about the choice, still go through, still read the book, because you might get that one little nugget that you're just like, holy cow, that just changed my trajectory. And it might surprise you a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so Emilio's question. The book is 10x is better than 2x. Brett or Jamie can hold it up. And then there you go. And then, yeah, to your point, I mean, even the one thing that we did 2 months ago, that book, the first big chunk of it felt like I was slogging through. I wasn't connecting with the way that he wrote or necessarily the message. And then I got to a portion towards the end about the things that kind of stop you, and that was kind of the one thing that I took away from that book, and it was valuable. And then, of course, we got together for the discussion, and the discussion was great. So even if it's one that you're not necessarily connecting with, try to make the commitment to get through as much of it as you can, and come and show up. And I think you'll find that you'll take some ideas away from the meeting that you didn't have before.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good value of the book club in and of itself, is not maybe just the book, but the conversation about the book and how each of us interpret what we read, because we can all read the same thing and interpret it differently. And so getting that other perspective might click a light on or click a switch, and you're like, yeah, I didn't think of it that way. So,
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for hopping on with us. And we will see you on April 22nd at Kokopelli for the Professional Development Book Club.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
See you, everybody.
Thanks.